me a sports medicine certified coach and 7-time champion pro competitive natural bodybuilder? How about somebody with pro cards and 4 distinct bodybuilding organizations? How about somebody who's been vegetarian since birth and vegan since 1998? How about the first vegan bodybuilder to be in print in GQ magazine? How about an advocate for veganism who does this for the animals? How about Florida Humane League's humane hero? How about Torre, Washington, y'all? Welcome, Torre.
Thank you. Is this thing on? Okay, we're on. Man, wow. He said not to walk in front of the speaker. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Wow. I don't know what to say after that. I think I'm done. All right, any questions?
We will have time for questions.
Man, this is amazing. You guys almost had me to tears out there. I really appreciate this. Thank you so very much. I really do. Gotta take all the samples out of my pockets. You guys, if you guys know, I eat a lot. Yay, yeah, exactly. It's good to eat a lot, right? Isn't it? I don't have my bottle. You want to cheer again? She was cheering with me. We hit bottles together. She was drinking a green drink. That's so amazing. How old are you? She's 4? You're 5? Nice. I got to put you guys on Instagram one more time before we start. So you guys know social media is taking over. So it's very crazy right now. Instagram, we're in Atlanta. And I just want you guys to see all these beautiful people here. Yeah, feels like I'm on stage again. I just need some music, some posing routine, and somebody gonna oil me up real quick. I heard that. So they asked if I have PowerPoints. I don't do PowerPoints. I did that for a while when I was at Honda. I used to be an engineer. So I did all those PowerPoints and stuff to get your point across so that people can get a visual. And that's just not my style anymore. I'm not there. I like to speak right from here. Mike, sorry. Right from here. Again, thank you guys so very much for being here and welcome to the Atlanta Veg Fest. The Atlanta Veg Fest, I think, was one of my first Veg Fest to attend. When did Atlanta Veg Fest start? 2012. I think that was my first one. It was in a smaller location, and I met one of my inspirations in music. I don't know if he's in here right now. Is he in here? He's not in here. Stick, from the group Dead Press. You guys know that group? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I met Stick at my first Veg Fest in Atlanta, and it was really nice to meet him because I've been into his music for so long. And then met him, took a picture, was like, oh man, I can't believe I just met Stick. And then he touched me later on. I was like, man, I know who you are. Like, you know who I am? It's like, yeah, man, what you're doing in the community and what you're doing in this world is amazing. And I just wanted to say, any help that I can be for you, just let me know. Man, you know what I meant the world to me? Because that's somebody I looked up to have them say, hey, dude, let me help you. I was like, wow. So to this day, we remain really good friends. So My name is Torre Washington. Gonna get started for you now. You ready? My name is Torre Washington, and I was born vegetarian. I was raised vegetarian because my mother is a Seventh-day Adventist. Anybody knows what that is? Oh, really? Okay, that's good. Not too many normally know what Seventh-day Adventist is. They always ask, what is a Seventh-day Adventist? So the true Seventh-day Adventist wouldn't be on the stage right now. Not today, actually, because today would be their day of worship. And what they typically do, they have a health message that they put out to the world. And in this health message is where vegetarian, vegan comes into play. Based on biblical readings and the way the Bible is written, they go by that as saying that we are to eat as we have started out in the Garden of Eden. And so this message I received because it was just in my nature to be of the universe. And when I say of the universe, what I mean by that is being at one, connected with nature on a more than just physical level, spiritual level, mental, food-wise as well. So being raised vegetarian, I went vegan in 1998, as you heard so eloquently by my wonderful, you know you're amazing, so of course. Actually, so eloquently stated that raised vegetarian, went vegan in 1998. And now, me going vegan, I didn't go vegan what you may think of the reason that I went vegan. But I want to ask two questions. Well, I'm going to ask more than two questions because I like to interact with everybody. When you think of vegan, what are there are two top reasons that people go vegan. Can somebody tell me one? Health. And health is usually the beginning part of, because you kind of want to live better, you want longevity, you want to be able to live to 110 years old, because I'm 110 right now, so you know. And so those are the things you think of when you want to, better your health. What's the second one? Animals, right. The ethics and the morality of how we deal with animals on this earth today is horrendous. I mean, if you guys have seen, what'd you say? Yeah, and that actually has been changing because a lot of people didn't really care about the planet. It's like, I'll just throw my trash over here. Somebody will pick it up. But that has become a point as well when it comes to vegan. So vegan incorporates all of that and a lot more. I think one thing that we incorporate that tends to get forgotten, is being compassionate. And I think the compassion sometimes goes out the window when it comes to dealing with each other. We are compassionate to the animals, but we forget about our fellow man. And those fellow men, women, what have you, are in this room today. How many of you guys in this room are not vegan, by raise of hands? The reason for my applause is a lot of times we get the stigma that we're so confrontational, we're judgmental, and we look at that person as being second to none in a sense. Like they're lesser than us because they haven't made that decision to make that switch. And that's so far beyond who we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be that person that when they look at us, they say, man, the light that person shines is so beautiful. How can I become just like you? But when you're like, you're not vegan? Man, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. I know I was raised vegetarian, but a lot of you, how many of you are vegan less than 2 years? Look at that. That's a lot of people. But yeah, we can applaud that too. I only met one person today, his name was Andreas, that went vegan because of someone that most people would consider over the top with the way they deliver their message. But for the most part, people who go vegan or plant-based or whatever you want to call it, typically don't go because someone was punching them in the face about it. They make their own decision, and they make the decision based off of logical reasoning or an emotional connection with what they've seen. So when you think of that, yes, you come into this knowledge, and you're so passionate about it. Why isn't everybody doing this? I was lied to. I just want to tell the world, and if you're not vegan, something's wrong with you. And that's understandable. But there's a way to deliver this message that makes people feel like you care about them, but you also allow them to receive it in their own time. And that's one thing when I talk about delivery. If UPS delivers you a package that you really wanted and it was bashed up, would you receive it? You return it. So if someone delivers you a message that comes in a format of judgment, confrontation, you don't want that. You're going to sit there and be like, oh, here come that person again. I'm going to leave. So we tend to forget that part. But that's a whole other story. So I've been vegan since 1998. And a little bit about my story. I started competing with bodybuilding in 2009. Now, mind you, prior to that first competition, I have been vegan since 98. So I get that question, people that ask me, did you build all your muscle on plants, or did you eat meat for a long time, and then you said, now you're vegan, and like, hey, check me out. You guys laugh, but that's the trend now. The trend now is vegan is beautiful, but a lot of times we are getting that mixed message of, is it really for vegan, or is it really just because I want to be seen? Because now it's huge. Look at this. I came to this Atlanta Veg Fest. I got to the parking lot. I couldn't find parking. I was like, damn, this is ridiculous. This is amazing. So, with that being said, my first show was 2009, but in 2008 I started to train for competition. And I asked a friend of mine who I saw competing here in Atlanta. He wasn't vegan. He was a friend of mine that I'd known from high school. And when he did his show, anything about me, I like comic books. Wolverine, Superman, those are the guys I wanted that physique. I wanted to have that superhero look. And I didn't know how you were going to do that. So I started looking into bodybuilding. Arnold Schwarzenegger, those type of guys. And I thought, okay, so you got to lift weights and do things to do that. So I just started doing it. I didn't have a question like, oh man, I'm vegan. Okay, what am I going to do? I didn't have that. So I get that now. People are like, oh, I'm going to go vegan. Okay, how can I build a body? Really? So I saw him on stage compete, came off stage. Man, he looked amazing. His abs was a little chiseled. He had that look, that superhero look. And I said, okay, I want to compete, man. I want to look like that. And he said, you're vegan. I said, and? Like, all right, well, I guess we'll just see what we can do. So 2008, we started, September. Did my first show in April 2009. Got third place in the show here in Atlanta. It was like out of 9 guys. And I was excited. So I was like, damn, I did third place. And I know for a fact I'm the only vegan here. So that's pretty cool. And so I wanted to come back and do it again, see if I could just get second place. So I think it was 3 months later, I came back to another show with like 16 guys this time. So it's even more competition. I won my class, and then after you win your class in bodybuilding, there's different classes of height, range, weight, whatever. And in order to win the overall champion has to beat everybody in the class winners of the other classes. We had to all compete together. So guys taller than me or whatever, bigger than me. And I won that. And that's when I got my first pro card just for my second show. So that was, yeah. I need you with me everywhere. So yeah, that really inspired me because I said, wow, okay, maybe I got something here. Maybe I can continue to do this. And I just kept doing it. And got to a point where I would do a show in Miami, and people said, hey, there's a vegan competing here. And my friends are like, Torre, stand up, stand up. There he is. I was like, hey. And so I did that show. It took me 3 years for that show. I did the first one, I did third place, second one, I did second place, and the third one, I did first place. And I got a pro card in that organization. And with that show, it was a larger platform. So a lot of people from different countries, and they also streamed it live on the web. So I would meet guys backstage, and they said, dude, you're vegan? It's like, yeah. They said, I need to talk to you, because I'm so tired of just eating chicken and broccoli and asparagus and chicken and broccoli and asparagus and chicken and broccoli and little potatoes, but chicken and broccoli, to the point where I heard today from somebody else that I never thought I would hear it. A friend of mine, when he would continue to eat the chicken and broccoli, he got to a point where he just got tired of chewing it. So what do you think he did next? What? He blended it up in a blender and drank it. I was like, ew. That's kind of, wow. You can just have a smoothie, man, with some, Get the same thing. It's some more micronutrients. But anyways, someone else told me they did that here. I said, what? I didn't know people did that. I didn't know it was a thing. I thought that was just his unique way of getting his nutrition in, but hey, that's. So lo and behold, I did that, competed 2009, 10, and here we are today. So I've been competing since. Now I also coach and I help other people on their journey to becoming a competitor, what have you, vegan competitor, many different facets of that. And my background, which I kind of put into what I do currently, is engineering. So Atlanta, you guys are like home, man. This is like coming back home for real, because I went to Tuskegee University. So I was in Atlanta all the time. Atlanta was so when I come back to Atlanta, it's like, okay, where am I going next? Soul vegetarian? Where am I going? Do you guys remember Dough Bakery? We need them back, man. Y'all got to tell Dough Bakery to come back, because they were good. We need as much of it as possible. So I went to Tuskegee University. I got an engineering degree. I worked in the engineering field for a little while. You guys know Honda. That's why I worked at Honda for a little while. And that engineering, although engineering is what I love to do, as far as now I do the same thing with physical bodies. I disassemble your body and reassemble it the way you want it to be. That's what I do now. So, it's amazing how when your journey takes you to a place that you never expected it to take you to, because a lot of people go to school and they get to a certain degree, they end up doing something totally different than what they set out to do, because maybe it was just social interaction with other people, or people kind of telling you, hey, you're gonna do this, you should do this. I would say this to you: find your passion and just follow it. Just jump out and get it done. Like, seriously. But we're here to talk about being a vegan athlete. And there's a lot of us now. And I was talking to Erin earlier, Erin Ferguson. That's my girl. We were talking about how the vegan athlete wasn't really heard of. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I was just talking about someone earlier. He said that when you hear someone say, where's she at? Is she in here? I was talking to her earlier. Anyway, she was saying that she has people still to this day say to her, so what are you going to eat? Sorry. You're an athlete. Like, what do you eat? And we still get that. But back then it was way. Let me tell you something. The cupcakes you guys have now, I remember having cupcakes like, that's really good. That's really good. But now, oh man. So when I get that question of what can I eat now, what can you not eat? Because there's so much variety. And as a vegan athlete, we're at such an advantage. There's no disadvantage there. Because I would say there's no disadvantage in the sense that Of course, we all are unique individuals, so we have different allergies, we have different personalities. Some of us like texture more than others. Some of us are into the food being more sodium-related, chips, fries. Or some of us are into sweets, like myself. You know, if it's sweet, I'm eating it. I don't care what it is, you know. And if it's vegan, I will eat it. Just so you know that. So if you say, hey, Torre, I got this thing. Is it vegan? Okay, cool. Well, I don't care what it is. What is it? I'll eat it. Just tell me give it to me. I'm going to taste it. So the advantage of being a vegan athlete, and I mean, this could be a long day if we talk about this, as far as if I wanted to go that far into it. One of the advantages is the variety that we have of nutrients that we could take in. What I mean by that is, a lot of times people say, okay, do I have to eat this only or this only? Not necessarily. You can get your nutrients, your nutrition in from so many, a variety of sources that a lot of times you probably don't even know exist. And I'm learning today because there are things that I eat currently that I never really ate before because I was so used to one way of eating. And the reason I was used to that one way of eating was because there was not much available at the time. Nowadays, we have so many chefs that came from a place of, I can only eat meat, and they're like, okay, now I want to veganize this. And so they're veganizing things that, like smoked ribs. Smoked ribs as vegans. That's crazy. A lot of times it scares people because they're like, it tastes too close to it. I don't know if I like that. I don't know what it tastes like, but what it ever tasted like, but hey, it's good to me. So the variety of choices that we have is phenomenal. And you don't even have to eat that. A lot of people ask me, can I eat raw? Yeah, you can eat raw. And raw, to me, I think raw is it's an important aspect of vegan that I think we tend to forget. Because when we think about the different supplementation that people are doing, you know, you have the B12. B12 is one of the main things that we talk about when you hear as a vegan, oh man, you're going to be B12 deficient. Side note, B12 is not a vegan issue. It clearly, you can be a carnivore and still have a B12 deficiency. So it's not, because you're going to go vegan, automatically you got to take B12. The first thing I would say to people is, get yourself checked out first. See where your numbers are. Because it might not even be a concern, but your concern comes from information that's been given to you or just spread to you, kind of like fear. You know what that is. When you fear someone into something, they continuously will say, all right, well, I can't do it because of such, not based on facts or data. There's a lot of data out there that can speak to B12 not being a deficiency just because you're vegan. The other advantage of being a vegan athlete, if you see now today, when you think of athletes, what do you think of an athlete when you think of an athlete? Someone that's put at a high level where they've trained for this specific event or events on a rigorous schedule to excel, succeed. So when you have an athlete who does well, you put them up and you're like, man, check out LeBron, what LeBron's doing. Or you say, check out this guy, what he's doing. And then you see these vegan athletes that are succeeding and you're thinking, man, okay, if this person can run, what are those ultra marathons? How long are they? Like overnight. They're like forever. I'm good with 100 meters. That's fine. But the fact that they can do that, and I think that's where a lot of the vegan athletes started because of the recovery. I know someone talked to me earlier about the recovery. My next question was to him is, because he said his recovery wasn't that great since he became vegan. I really don't hear that much. What I hear mostly is, my recovery has gotten so much better. And usually the ultra marathon runners started this whole like eat nuts and seeds and fruit, lots of greens, and they were running all night. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do that. But that then transitioned over to lifters, power lifters, bodybuilders, calisthenics. All of us now are surviving. I mean, I'm up here on the stage, so I'm alive. And doing well as a vegan. So the nutrition that we're getting helps recovery. I mean, my recovery has always been great, but I think even when I went more vegan, side note, I didn't know what vegan was when I came vegan. Just to kind of give you a little history on that. Remind me of where I was to you. I went vegan because of my integrity. What I mean by that is, when I was transitioning from vegetarian, vegan, what have you, I went into the lifestyle of the Rasta. You know, anybody know what Rastafari is? You know, Bob Marley. Cue the music. That lifestyle led me to vegan. And what I mean by that is, my background is Jamaican. And so Ital being, I don't know if Godfrey is in here, but Ital is a life, yeah man, Godfrey, big up, Aya. Yes, so my lifestyle was Rasta. And Rasta, Ital is food that is from the ground. And most of the Rastas, even deep in the bush, ate with utensils that were made from their everyday, like coconut shells or what have you. And Ital even went so far as to not include salt, because they didn't think that you need to do seasoning of anything. You just need to eat the food the way it grows. But a lot of Rastas, the friends that I knew, a lot of my friends were still eating fish and chicken and what have you. And I said, yo, that's not Ital. Come on, man, we got to do better than that. So I decided to cut out anything that has eggs in it or any dairy, what have you. And later on, someone said, oh, you're vegan. I said, what the heck is that? And they're like, oh, you don't eat anything with a face. Oh, okay, so I'm vegan. All right, cool. All right, this vegan thing. I wasn't really one for labels, still not, you know. I say that one day vegan will change and it'll not be vegan, it'll just be is. That's just what we do. You know what I mean? We just are that way, and that's just, yeah, exactly. So the talks won't be vegan, it's just be like, hey, we're just talking. But so that transition had me just learning more about it. It didn't start out for the animals. And I think most of us don't start, well, I would say, who went vegan for animals? Yeah, I think that's about the same as others. Yeah, great. My upbringing, you know, Jamaicans didn't really treat animals the best. You know, dogs are like, yo, dog, stay out our yard. Do not bring dog inside the house. That's how we did it. And so now I have 2 cats and they come on my head. You know, all that stuff, you know. If they hack up something, you clean it up. But back then, cats and dogs are outside. You give them their food. They don't come inside. So that was a learned process for me. And now, man, I'm stopping for the lizard on the road, like, oh, shoot. And almost having accidents for lizards. So, you know, it's a process. And I think the one thing as an athlete and a vegan, that advantage is that I can help relay that message in a different light, because sometimes people say, yeah, my boyfriend doesn't think it can happen because he sees me and I'm, you know, look at me. But when I show them you, they're like, You sure he's not taking steroids? Now, I don't know much about steroids or Winstrol. I'm learning this stuff. Like, since I've been in this industry, I'm learning all these drugs, like Anavar and Winstrol and Deca this and Trenbolone. I'm like, somebody was like, yeah, you're on Trenbolone. I was like, what the heck is that? Maybe, sorry. So I'm finding out about these just from people making accusations of me. And so when people say someone else is doing it, I'm like, hey, I don't know if they are, because I get it. They tell me I am, so I can't just automatically jump on and say, yep, this person's using. Because I don't know. But that's what happens. You know, as someone that's transitioned, they're able to share different athletes nowadays with people to let them see that, look, it's possible. And not only that, this guy's been doing it for a long time. Like I said, when I started off, most of us we're seeing people who start out vegan as a year or 6 months, but they've built muscle mass. But the good thing is, if they're able to maintain that, that still speaks volume for what vegan can do. that it doesn't mean that you have to continuously grind that chicken up in the blender and drink it. You can let that chicken live its life in harmony. Like I'm sure you guys get this. Well, what are we going to do if no one eats meat anymore with all the cows and stuff? Well, they're mass producing them anyway. Seriously, man, that's all that stuff. So now, like I said, as my transition, my change into more the animal ethics of it all has been part of my journey, and it keeps everything at the forefront of what I'm doing. I'm not just up here for me. I'm not just up here just to be like, hey, look at me. It's more so to get that message of compassion and awareness out as a vegan athlete, because that's another advantage, is that I can share the information to other people about what's going on behind the doors of the slaughterhouse that people don't see. And when we do see it, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't want to see that. But I like this. It's really good. You know what I mean? So we can get that message out there and relate it in a way that they're like, oh, okay. I'm going to cut back. I think I'm going to cut back. And people do that. They slowly cut back and change their lifestyle for the better. And what we need to do is to be that shoulder that they lean on, that person that is there to help them continue. Because if we're there just being judgmental, if they slip up and they ate something that had milk in it, they don't want to be around you anymore. Like, oh boy, I don't want to be around Kim. She's going to judge me because I just had a Cheeto or something like that. But yeah, so that side note is how I really came into more of the ethics of it all. And it took me a hard time to even to watch Earthlings. Earthlings was really hard for me to watch. When I couldn't even watch the first 5 minutes. Earthlings, by the way, is a documentary that I watched on Netflix. It's one of those documentaries that you got to be ready for, because a lot of the information in there you would not believe actually occurs, and when you see it, you're a little distraught to the point where, even as a guy, you'd be, oh, I can't believe this. You're crying. And not to say that men don't cry, because I cry. No, we do cry. We cry. And that really touched me. So that was I think as a vegan, we look at that and we think, oh, I'm vegan already. I don't need to watch it. But a lot of times we don't know what else is going on in the world, and it helps us to stay strong in our stance for what we're doing. So that's another advantage of the vegan athlete. The other thing about being an athlete is you're not just here for vegan entertainment. What I mean by that is, because I've taken this chance at life, at living my life the way I want to, I've been able to meet people who have sort of an influence over the world at large. As far as with social media, social media is a driver now of what people are doing. And when you're able to meet people who aren't athletic, let's say they're some musician, they look at the athletes, and that's who the people they want to train with. So when they see an athlete like a Rich Roll or another ultramarathoner that you know of, or an Eric Ferguson, or any other athlete who is doing something away from the norm, because although this is beautiful and we're getting this message out there, there's still a lot of people that don't see this as a viable way to make their gains as a vegan, as a bodybuilder, whatever it might be, or even to get to that next level in their fitness, because they think it's going to hinder them. Because first question is, how do I look like you by eating all these carbs? That's the first question. We forget that carbs are the source of energy. And that energy is what we need in order to burn fat. Right? You guys know that? There you go. And so we get this mixed message that carbohydrates are really bad for us. Like, it's going to make you fat. It's going to make you gain weight and what have you. But we don't realize that it's all about surplus. You got surplus, you got maintenance, and you got deficit. And that's another talk. But those are one of the advantages as being an athlete that's vegan. You can partake in all of this And the micronutrient, I think, we focus so much on macronutrients. You know what the macronutrients are? Yeah, there you go. But then we forget about all the other little ones that tend to keep our body functioning in a manner that keeps you sitting there. We have a resting metabolic rate. As you're sitting there, you have to have enough calories for your body to utilize to keep you functioning properly. What we tend to do is we automatically drop ourselves below that. Next thing you know, yeah, we're losing weight, but then what's the longevity of that process? It's not sustainable. So as a vegan athlete, one advantage is I'm already in a position to where I'm looking at longevity. I meet athletes now who aren't vegan who ask me, man, I think I want to go vegan. And one of the reasons is they've gotten older, their joints are starting to hurt, they're going to see the doctor, heart palpitations or whatever, and they're looking at, okay, I want longevity. And so now they want to look at vegan because they figure, all right, I got all that done, I built muscle, this, that. I figure if I'm going to go vegan, I'm going to lose some muscle, it's all right, I'm not going to compete anymore. But that's not true. There's so many of us out there that are able to still compete, look amazing, but our longevity of our life, our health, is extended. I told you already I'm 110 years old, so you see that already it's been working. So that's one advantage that I'm already started there. And so the history that I have or the information that I have from working with other people, I'm able to pass that on to people coming into this new area of their life. So we need to continue to be as compassionate as we can with one another because that's the only way we can continue to be able to spread awareness about all the things that we do. Because have you heard this statistic about 2020? They say about 2020 or 2050, I think. What's the number one killer in America? Right. I think it's going to be 1 in 3. So imagine that. 1 in 3 in this audience. That's crazy. That's like the person 2 people down from you may have heart disease. And one of the best ways to stop this is by our dietary choices. Now, I say dietary only because most of us kind of understand that lingo. But for me, I don't think of it as a diet. You know why? I am not ready to die yet. Pretty simple. Right? So you can use that. Tell them you're not ready to die yet. You just want to live. You want to be able to live and enjoy and still be able to get shredded, put on size, compete, do different things in your life because we all have a day-to-day activity of life that we want to live. And some of us still want to be an athlete. Because I know not everybody in here wants to be an athlete. But how many of you in here actually compete? Nice, really good. Now, how many of you are vegan or just, okay, is that the same number? Now it's hard to tell. But that's good because a lot of times the vegan aspect of it makes people not really think of the athlete side of it. They think of more of just the health and the animals. And if I'm vegan like this, which is great because you don't have to be a vegan athlete. You can still be vegan and still be able to be an inspiration to others. Because what I've run into mostly are people who aren't athletes. When I say not athletes, that means you're not at a level of where you want to compete on stage. Because there are people who just like that fit look. I want to be in shape. I want to have that conditioning to where if something happens and I have to run, I can run no problem at all. And you see that as possible. As I said before, the ultramarathoners. You're running overnight 100 miles. Yeah. To me, that's still amazing. Because for me to be able to run 3.2 miles was tough. That's at a 5K? Yeah. What, 3.1? 3.1. See, you got technical. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's just part of the advantage of being a vegan athlete. There's so many things that we can do that we can share within this world and really make a difference to a lot of people. For example, for me, one of the advantages when I compete, I get this a lot, is Torre, you don't look tired. You don't look stressed out about this show. Why? You don't look like you're about to die. And because if you know a lot of competitors that compete on stage, it's a different thing. It's very mental. I've met people with 3 weeks to a show. They say, I can't do this. 3 weeks. They've been doing it already for maybe 17 weeks. The last 3 weeks, they're like, I can't do this. So imagine that feeling. And then when people see me on stage, they're like, or see me 3 weeks out, they're like, are you competing? Yeah. Why are you so happy? I'm getting everything I need. I'm eating whatever I want. Now, when I say whatever I want, it doesn't mean that I'm eating at a surplus. You know, remember what I mean by surplus. I'm not eating over what I need in order to look the way I want to look on stage. But I'm enjoying it as well as drinking water. Because a lot of times within that industry, water is cut off by the time you get on stage. I'm drinking 2-3 gallons still, all the way up. Because now the day of the show, you're not actually eating, or not eating, you are eating, I'm sorry. You're not drinking water because you don't want to be on stage full of water trying to say front double biceps, but you got this big belly. You know, so that does change. But a lot of times people cut their water down to the point where they're not even consuming any that day before the show. And it's like a liter, or maybe even less than that. And if you imagine you started out drinking a gallon a day, and now you're at a liter, you're not going to be a happy camper. You're going to be someone who's really pissed off at everybody. You don't have any carbs in your system, or maybe you have carbs at that last minute, but for 3 weeks you didn't have carbs. Because you know what I'm talking about. I've had friends who have had to do no carbs, imagine this, for 6 weeks. That's crazy. That is crazy. So with me being vegan, I don't have that problem. And it's really given me that opportunity to showcase a physique that most people want on stage, but they feel like they have to do something totally different. And so when they see that it's possible and the differences that they can do as a vegan, it makes them really look at it with different eyes. You know, they take off the black ones and put on the clear ones like, oh, now I see it. Because they wanted to block out what we're doing. Now they want to kind of join in and understand it a little more. So yeah, that's just the advantages of being a vegan athlete. I always do these, when I do these talks, there's one thing that, to me, I really think is important is the people that are here. Because you guys, I know a lot of times you see me like, okay, what is this guy talking about? You know, that doesn't make sense to me. I have a question I want to ask. Is he going to answer my question? If you have questions, and I want to say this as a discount, we're all friends here. Are we all friends here?
We are all friends here.
You guys are, I want you to realize everybody here loves you. Everybody. And so, don't be afraid to ask the question you may think it's silly. Ask it. Now, will I answer it? I don't know. But I'll do my best to answer any question that you may have. Because a lot of times when I speak, if I wanted to speak on everything, it would be a long day and you'd probably get tired. You just ate. You'd be sitting here falling asleep on me. I don't want to do that like that. I want you guys to give me questions. Any question that you have, I'll do my best to answer it. Go.
All right, friends, we're going to, for the purpose of the recording, we're going to bring you the mic. So I'm going to be the one bringing you the mic. Please say your question into the mic and then hand it back to me. And if there needs to be back and forth, there can be. But ask your question and then hand it back to me so I can queue up the next person. Thanks so much.
So I'm a vegan, but I'm also a breast cancer survivor. And thanks. So after a lot of research, I've seen talks about soy not being so great for you. So being a personal trainer and an athlete that wants to cut out soy, is it possible to still do that if you don't have that in your diet? And what's your thoughts on soy?
I'm sure you guys heard all that, right? So, you saw when I spoke, you heard me when I said, if it's vegan, I eat it. And that's me. soy has been on the radar for years about estrogen production. Women don't need to eat it. It's bad for their thyroid. You'll gain weight on it. And everything has soy. Soy is plastic. Soy is dog food. What else have I heard?
Soy will make you grow man boobs.
Do I have man boobs?
Hell no. I'm just saying what y'all thinking. That's all it is.
I actually did a collaboration with a Dr. Frank Cusimano and also Dr. Michelle McCracken. She's also VegMD, at veg_MD. They did a study on soy and estrogen production, things like that. And the data came back as it does not cause cancer, right? It does not cause all these things that we've heard of about soy that you continue to still hear. Because even when you have good information, just like the yin yang, you're going to have the opposite. And so what I'm getting at here is, Zuri, is that, yeah, her name is Zuri, by the way. Love her name. Is that what works for you? So your other part of your question was, do you have to do it? No, you don't. You don't actually have to eat tofu, soy, whatever, in order to get the gains that you want. You do need to make sure that you're getting in all the nutrients you need in order to benefit you for looking the way you want to on stage. And that may take a different path all to itself. What I mean by that is you may be eating things that you're not used to because they have the nutrients that you're looking for, outside of what you may already know. Have you ever had soy or tofu? And did you see any type of reaction from it?
No, I haven't had any reaction or anything. Just after someone called that,
I think it would.
No reaction was the answer.
So it's kind of like, do you stay away from it only because of what you've gone through? Or do you say, let me see if I would say learn more data on it, learn more information on it. So if you want me to, I can connect you with those doctors in a way that where you can get that information, because they're more detailed on it. I'm not a doctor, by the way, if you guys don't know that. So that way they can give you more information in regards to your concerns, because that makes more sense to find someone who's not biased. Because they're not biased in the sense that, yeah, they're vegan, but if the data speaks for itself, they're going to present it the way it should be presented. So that's how I would answer that question.
Thank you.
Hey, Torre, how you doing? I'm
Good,
Rashid. I'm a vegan athlete, and I've been competing for 8 months now. And I've been placing in the second and third place, in the top 3 in my class, and trying to figure out how to not retain water on peak week. Because I'm always harder on that Friday, but then when I come in on the show week, I'm sorry, show day, for some reason something's going on where I hit stage and I have a little more water and I'm not as hard. So is there anything that I can do to come in drier on that day?
So this question is related to competing on stage. And a lot of my competitors understand there's a look that you have to have, or you want to have, that's related to so-called winning. What I mean by that, his question is to look dry. That dry look, when you've seen an anatomy chart of a human anatomy, you see every single muscle. That dryness is that look. It's where there's no water underneath the skin. There's no subcutaneous water between the muscle and the skin. So the skin is like vacuum sealed onto the body. And so all you see is everything, the veins, all of that. There's a terminology they call it, but I wouldn't say it here because it's kids.
Thank you.
Two things. There's multiple ways in which that is done. There is your water intake, one. I don't know if you did it, because you have to see how your planning went up until that point, and kind of look at it in that way. So there was one show I came in very dry, but it was so dry that when I flexed one of my ab muscles, like literally was about to pop out of my skin, and it hurt so bad. But it was also because I kind of depleted myself too much. So depletion, just for you guys to understand, depletion is where you bring your calories and all your nutrients down to a level of where you almost look emaciated, but you're still muscular. And your skin, like that, you get really to that point, and then you fill back out. What filling back out is you eat food, drink water, or whatever it is that works for that person, because everybody's different, so we're not going to just say it. Your goal is to then fill out the cells of the muscles. So the muscles absorb the nutrition, and they push the muscle bigger, and so it pushes against the skin, so you look bigger on stage. And that's creating a full look, but still dry. Sometimes you can look dry and flat where your muscles don't really pop, if you know what I mean. You don't have a 3D look on you. You're like, what? But it's like you don't have a 3D look. So what he's looking for is, one point he looks like the anatomy chart, then the next day he doesn't look like that at all. He looks like he drank a lot of water and he's just holding all this water. So that's that spillover look you're talking about. So you really need to see what your nutrient take is in that day and the day of the show, because sometimes the day of the show you can change it just based on the sodium intake, based on how much water you're drinking, based on your food, your intake, how much carbohydrates, all of that stuff plays into that look, because you can change it in a matter of a couple hours because of being so lean. So my next thing to you, Rashid, is we probably need to look at what you're doing that whole time to because if you look better Friday night, maybe you're peaking too early. You know what I mean? So Friday should be Saturday. And what you've done before that, we need to then apply that maybe a little later, or start even earlier, get it down to the point where you're so depleted a week out, and then slowly, gradually get you to where you need, because you're doing physique, right? And physique, you don't need to be so super shredded. You need to be more full with a little bit of leanness as well. So we just need to talk about that and kind of see what you're doing.
So I'm working my way around the room. If you have a question, just raise your hand. Remember to say your question into the mic and then hand it back to me.
Are you guys enjoying it so far?
So hi, we are not any athletes. We are normal people.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. I love this, because we aren't just all athletes. We're a group of amazing people. Because I'm sure there's doctors out here. There's everybody out here. So much love. Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask you was, what would be, or what do you think in a normal person, where we want to look lean and be fit and not tired, what would you recommend as workouts and diet to carry on with normal life and not compete?
That's actually my main, the people that I work with the most are, okay, I want to look like I want to compete, but I don't want to compete, And so it's like, oh, that's usually fun, because then we can they give me, all right, Torre, here's the tools. I can just sculpt you the way I want you to look. I have one woman right now, she's actually just turned vegan, and I call her Wonder Woman, because I'm having fun just like sculpting her, just shaping her. I mean, she's pretty strong. But so when it comes to just wanting to be fit, the good part about that is, since you're not wanting to ever get to a point where you get on stage, you can enjoy even more, not that you don't enjoy going to the stage, because to make a decision to get on stage, it has to be something that you wanted to do, that you love to do. And when you want to do something that you love to do, you want to do it at your best. You want to excel at it, work on a spirit of excellence. So the same would go for you. Of course, with your nutrition, we'd have to see where you are currently, what you're doing, because there's so many different variables that goes into setting up a plan for someone, because yours may be totally different from the person in front of you, even if you weighed the same, because you may metabolize carbohydrates and protein a little differently than she does. Like Bree may take this amount of protein, and you may need this amount. But your body is going to look almost the same when you get on stage based on the look that we're looking for. So to just really give you like, okay, this is what you're going to do, blah, 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 I can't just do that right here. I would have to look at your day-to-day activity, watch what you do as for work. What do you do for work? Right, so you're sitting down most of the time, seeing what you do after that, how often you're training in the gym if you are, what your cardio level is. Those variables, then we put them together and also check what your metabolic rate is sitting while you're active. And from that, we then, okay, this is how we're gonna make you look like this. You know, so for example, if you wanna lose 10 pounds, put on more shoulder size, this is the program, the workout regimen you need to do. Because some people carry weight up top, in the middle, or on the lower body. So based on where we want to sculpt more precise, it's based on the workout as well. So I can't just say, here, just do this. Like I do have programs on my website which are dedicated to bodybuilding, and it's not just making you compete, it's for anyone that wants to train and learn the foundations of what bodybuilding started. But then from there, you then need to progress to that next level. So just like when I was telling Rashid, that's something we will have to look at, like look at all the variables that incorporate how we would build that program for you. You're welcome.
Hi, Torre.
Hey.
Well, we wanted to support you, especially since we are graduates of Tuskegee from 75.
Tuskegee!
TU.
You know?
Anyway, what would you recommend, or which protein that's non-traditional or vegan-like that you would recommend the most?
As in what format? Like what type
like
of?
on your normal meal eating, like for dinner?
Like for eating or like, so you're not talking about supplement?
No.
Oh, okay,
As
okay.
a part of your normal meal, the 3 or 6 meals you eat a day.
I like that. I
said, you like seitan, tempeh, or tofu the best?
I'm a seitan guy.
Me too.
Seitan,
So
seitan
good.
is weak gluten, but it's really high in protein. And sometimes people are like, well, it also has high in carbs. But when it comes to what Zuri's concerns were, she may not have celiac disease. Celiac is where gluten is something that you're not supposed to intake. Seitan would be a good alternative if you're looking for high protein. Of course, you can get protein from lentils. You can get it from black beans, chickpeas, edamame, kidney beans, butter beans. Should I go on? Other beans. You know, you can get it from all that stuff. So I think what we also noticed, too, within this community, because of how the fitness has pushed protein on us so much, that even now in the vegan community, we're focused on protein. And which is fine because it allows more people to see that, okay, I can still get my protein in. Even if I want to supplement, I can get it in from a vegan protein source. Like vegan proteins, they have their protein out there as well. So you can get it from multiple places, is what my point is. You're welcome.
All right,
Tuskegee.
next question.
So mine is 2 parts. I have a quick statement and then also a question for you. I'm a Food for Life instructor with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and I get the question about
PCRM.
soy.
Yeah, Dr.
PCRM. So I get the question a lot in my classes about soy and breast cancer. And I just wanted to point out that the most recent research study involving a few thousand breast cancer survivors showed that breast cancer survivors who ate whole forms of soy, so I'm talking tofu, edamame, soy milk, that kind of thing, 3 to 4 times a week, actually have a reduced risk of recurrence of breast cancer at 29% reduced risk of breast cancer.
Nice.
Organic whole forms of soy 29%
I wish she was still here. She
reduced
left already.
risk. Okay. And then, well, for anybody else who might want to know this, it's very important. And 37% reduced risk of death from all forms of death, all causes of death.
All right, thank you.
Right. So whole soy, tofu, organic whole
Right,
soy, tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milk, that kind of thing is actually protective against breast cancer. And there's a lot of myths about soy. Isolated soy protein is what the study was done on that showed there was a relationship. One study 10 years ago that showed
Right.
that, but it was isolated soy protein. So whole forms of soy are protective. My question is, do you have a favorite meal?
Man, you know what? It's interesting. I talked to my advisor, and she always said, you're gonna get this question all the time. You might as well have something to say. Because I get it because the way I usually answer it is, I eat so many different things, but because, and this is only coming from a space of bodybuilding, so here's me being a little transparent. When I used to just do it for just bodybuilding, one thing I enjoyed the most was, because it was easy, simple, and pretty fast, is I would just saute some tofu, have a Japanese sweet potato, and some broccoli or whatever greens I had, Brussels sprouts, whatever it is. That was an easy, simple, I love it meal. I could always eat that. But now, because there's so much more out there, it's like, okay, is it pizza or is it a donut? I don't know. so yeah, that would be my typical thing. But I mean, I'm a beans and rice guy too. You know, being Jamaica, we eat lots of rice and beans and, you know, dumpling and yam and chocho and, you know, cassava, ackee with no saltfish and, you know, all of that. So, yeah. But thank you for your information too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate that. We got a question right here.
How you doing?
What's going on?
Okay, what is your thoughts on counting calories and macros, and how do you feel about carb cycling?
Okay. Good question. Very good question. Because before, I wasn't really hip to it because I just ate, and I knew how I wanted my physique to look. So I could just, if I'm eating 3 donuts, I say, all right, I need to eat 1. You know, so in order to bring my calories down. But when it comes to macros, counting calories in a sense, when I work with people, I actually have them start that, counting macros. The reason is to get them to understand more about their body and how food works for them. And it also helps keep them held accountable because they're tracking based on, like I was talking to this young lady here, what works with their body. So to me, it's effective. It's effective because a lot of the clients that I've worked with have seen the success of it. And a lot of times, it helps you eat pretty much whatever you want, because all you're doing is making sure that you have this amount of carbohydrates, this amount of protein, this amount of fats. And so if this donut here has whatever in it, and you know that it'll fit in what you take, what you need for the day, that means that you can enjoy it. And so you're still going to be able to get to that end goal while still eating ice cream once in a while, or I call it vice cream because it's vegan, and having donuts or whatever. Because like I was talking to you earlier about Aaron and all of our friends, we typically eat that way, with like a macro-based lifestyle. As far as, you said carb cycling? Carb cycling, just so you guys know, it's not you eating carbs riding a bike. It's basically where you're eating carbs and then you stop. Or you eat is that right? You're eating, and you stop, and then you eat again. It's like you kind of go up and down. So you're up and down with your carbohydrates just to basically give your body an opportunity to utilize fats for energy. And that's the theory behind it, that as you use the fat for energy, of course, you're going to burn fat. It's fine to me in the sense of, again, it depends on there's so many variables that go into that. Some athletes, some bodybuilders, competitors use it in order to get ready for a show. Others don't need it. And those same guys might not need it either, but they saw the best results by doing that. It's really truly based on what your body adapts to. And it's not a question where I can say, hey, just do it. It's more of give it a shot, but also see the variables that your body is in now to see whether or not it's going to benefit you for that long term. Does that help you? Thank you.
So Tori's referred to Erin a few times, and I just figured that since she's here, we could have her stand up and wave at everybody.
Hi, Erin.
Since she's so awesome.
Oh yeah, hi everyone. So this year I was actually fortunate enough to join the ranks of Torre and turn pro. So another huge win for the animals. So if anybody wants to say hi or whatnot, I'm back here.
Awesome, yeah.
And Scott lives in Atlanta, guys. He's also a trainer as well as in strength training and what have you, and Scott's amazing.
Yes, we are very lucky. And some of these folks are hanging out at the vegan proteins booth on the lower level. If you want to go say hi later. That's actually a question I have for you, Torre. You're super popular, and I know that when your session gets out, a lot of people are going to want to talk to you. But just for like the fire code, we can't have people standing around blocking the aisles. So what would be the best way like for you to interact with folks who want to chat with you after the session? Where are you going to be? How would you like people to follow up with you on social? Like what would be best?
Anything. I mean, one thing you guys know about me, I went to a farm sanctuary to speak, and they were like, okay, is he going to be like a diva? You know? But I'm so not like that. I am that type of guy where if your door is broken, I'm going to fix it. I'll find a way to help you out because I don't look at it like that. I tell you that this is truly an honor to be in this position because I didn't know I had always had a heart for serving, to serve and help others, to the point where even if I'm late to somewhere and someone's on the side of the road, I'm like, ooh, I want to stop and help them, but I'm going to be late. So that I go through that conundrum often. So what I'm getting at is I like to be a person, and this is just who I am, that's available to everybody as much as possible. And I know that's not you can't actually do that. If I could, I would love to come to everybody's house and be like, okay, let me help you go vegan. But I can't do that. So I do what I can in the capacity that I'm able to. So this is my way of giving back and serving the community at a whole. And I feel like there's more of us out there that can do this same thing. Like you guys out here inspiring people, you don't even realize it. Because a lot of times, they may not hear it from me, they may hear it exactly from you. Someone that a lot of my family aren't vegan. And even though they're like, man, Torre, you're all over the place vegan. I'm like, what are you waiting on? They're like, well, curry goat. I'm like, man, really? That's what's stopping you? Or cheese, I don't know why, but I know casomorphin, you guys know what that is? If you watch What the Health, you know that. I'm like, damn, casomorphin, that's why cheese is so addictive. And I see it, like people cannot, they're like, I'm vegetarian, like why? Cheese, man, it's just cheese, it's so hard to give up cheese. And I say, Miyoko, you guys know who Miyoko is?
Yes, Miyoko.
Man, that's some good stuff. And, I don't get that same, for me it was like a light switch, on, off, vegan. And I know for some people their journey is a little bit longer because they'll ask me, how was your transition? What was your transition like? I didn't have one. It was more like I just turned it off and that was it. I'm vegan. And so I'm relating more now because I meet a lot of people who are going through this transitionary period where they are working with me and they're like, oh man, I think I slipped up the other day. You guys know Katya Elise Henry? You know Katya. Yeah, you know Katya. So Haley knows Katya. Katya is I don't know what you want to call it, like an inspirator on Instagram. And she recently went vegan. Her mom has been vegan for the animals, and we working together. And she talked about the other day how she slipped up. And I tell her, I was like, for me, I'm not going to be one to judge you on that because I understand that there's a process. We're in a society where you're force-fed. I mean, you see the commercials? They are hard on it now, and even more. I think because this is growing, they're like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do with these cows? We need to pump it out more. pump it out more, let's go. You know, and so their marketing is getting more strategic. They're putting it in different places. I was on a plane walking on the the thing that leads you to the airplane. What's it called? The jetway, whatever it's called. They have advertisements on it now. You know, you're standing in that line, get a meal, and it has steak. I was like, damn, they're working hard. Because you're sitting there, and you're getting hungry, thinking, oh, yeah, I need to get a meal when I get on the plane. And it's so strategic. It's like a plate. Then it had these fillets with seasoning on top of it, a little bit of vegetables, little carbs, little potatoes on the side, and down in the corner, a bowl of fruit kind of cut off, the salad kind of cut off, but the main thing was this, and I was like, wow, you guys are getting good, but they're afraid, because they're losing dollars. So we're affecting those pockets, man. We got to keep that going. As we affect those pockets, that's why it's good to have more of these events, more support all the restaurants, man. I mean, support everybody. As long as we support one another, and we're compassionate about it, we're original, we are genuine, we're authentic, because that's life, man. Being authentic, your authentic true self. And I'm not done on questions. Somebody that's got me going on a rant. So.
Tori,
Yeah.
you are so charming, and you are so kind, and you are so obviously available to all of us. But we still have some folks in the audience who are wondering how to get in touch with you. What is your preferred way? Do you like us to hit you up on Instagram? Like you want us to email you? How can we work with you? Help us.
The best way to reach me when you want to work with me is TorreWashington.com. And although my manager hates this, on Instagram, I respond to people. So if you send me a DM, because now DMs are not considered, hey, I'm going to slide in your DM. It's not that anymore. It's more like, well, I don't have his phone number, so I can contact him this way. I respond to that as well. And if it's related to fitness, I then will say, hey, go to my website and contact me through TorreWashington.com. And I have a process through which I pick people that I want to work with to get them on stage or just get in shape or what have you. And if the program that I have online can help you, I'll tell them to do that. Because it's an 8-week program. It's pretty rigorous. Some people say I can't even do it. It's too much. 4 sets of 30 reps on leg extensions is just like killer. So, yeah, stuff like that.
And Scott and Aaron and I were talking, and we kind of agreed that if people want to talk to you more today, you might be hanging out in the vegan proteins booth. Does that sound good?
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know, Scott.
Possibly.
You got some Cinnaholic over there?
You're very close to Cinnaholic, actually.
Hey,
Yeah.
I came up here to Atlanta because media said, hey, Florida's going to die. Everybody's going to die from Hurricane Irma. Get out. And so family members said, you need to leave. I'm like, for what? Florida's made for hurricanes. So we came here real quick. I went to Cinnaholic. They were out of them. They were like, sorry, the truck didn't deliver it. We give you this card. And I got this card, and it was for a free one. But I left it in Florida.
Just
Dang. So I'm going to still go by there and get one, though.
All right, we got time for 2 more questions.
You got one down here, and
Oh, my Lord. All right, we got a bunch of questions left.
wait. Here's a way. How old am I?
How old are you?
I'm
110.
There you go. But I wanted the person that answered the first
Dang.
110. What do you get? It doesn't matter. You just pick. You can pick. Go ahead.
I'm going to go to the folks on my row, and then I'll circle around this way. Here you go.
Hey, Torre.
Yeah.
What do you do about bloating? Because that's just something I've been experiencing. So you got any tips on that? Like just like excessive amounts of gas. Sorry to freak you guys out.
No wonder no one's sitting next to you.
No one's around me, bro. they all left. Thank you.
Are you getting that from, I guess it's based on, how long, are you vegan?
Yeah.
How long?
2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
Have you had it since you started?
Maybe, I don't know.
What about before?
before it wasn't so bad.
So do you, because one thing there's a lot of different things that I've seen kind of help that, as well as the way you cook your food. You know, I know there's a specific way to prepare beans where it doesn't cause as much flatulence, the technical term for it, or the bloating. And the bloating could be just an adverse reaction to something that maybe you probably shouldn't be eating. So you might want to kind of start over in a sense. One thing I do when someone's starting to have digestive issues, I say go back to raw and kind of reintroduce cooking again. Because the digestion, this is the area where everything that happens to us when it comes to health-wise starts. So when your gut flora isn't healthy, it shows up everywhere else. It shows up in your skin, shows up in your B12 deficiency, because we get everything through I think it's the lower intestine. I'm not a doctor, but you get it down there. So I would say start there, and then slowly kind of reintroduce yourself back into it to kind of see, especially if you're not on a timeline, where you can kind of understand yourself a little more about, okay, these foods have this type of interaction, or not interaction, have this type of reaction to my system. And also, when you kind of reset, basically like reset with raw, juicing, what have you, you can almost, I think, reduce those allergic reactions because your body now is ready to absorb and digest those things because it's healthy again. I think we forget that because I've done fasting for 10 days. And people are like, you're going to die. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm fine. It actually turned out to be the greatest thing I could have done. I mean, fasting, of course, you're not just not taking anything in, but it really helped my digestive tract to just say, I don't have to keep breaking down stuff. It's just release, release in two ways. But it really helps to just start reset again and see how that goes.
All right, we got another question right here.
Hi, Torre. Well, you actually went into my question. I was going to ask you if you incorporate fasting maybe on a weekly basis or some type of detox. And if you do, what do you do?
Your question is very good in the sense that I need to get back on it. I don't do it as much. I used to do it often. I would say probably once a month. But I think there's a lot of benefit to it, to being able to do it more often than not. And the only thing that it did as far as a competitor, because you're not really taking in much calories or what have you, you're just getting in a lot of micronutrients, a lot of just nutrients. You can kind of get a little bit atrophy in your muscle size. So I didn't want to do that too much at this point, but eventually I want to get back to a point where I'm doing that a little more often. I don't know if I would do it every week. I'd probably do it every month or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. So, a little bit of background before I ask my question. Just a little bit. Okay. My hometown there's not a lot of access to vegan options. So, what advice do you have for people who live in a place where there's not a vegan restaurant or like tofu in the grocery store?
You have to become a chef, girl. No, seriously, when I lived in Alabama, and I lived in, I went to Tuskegee. So Tuskegee, there was nothing there. What? There was nothing there. So literally, I had to just, okay, as a male, we do less. So I'm find some frozen and heat it up. And so I was doing a lot of that, but I also had to just start making stuff, And I think that's where a lot of, if you guys know From My Bowl on Instagram, she lives in Florida. When I met her, I said, have you been to this restaurant? She's like, no. She had never been to a bunch of restaurants. I was like, girl, you need to get out. Like, what are you doing? And then someone said to me, have you seen her Instagram? I said, no. So I looked at it and I said, oh. She makes all her stuff, and her stuff is amazing, but it was her creativity to just say, you know what? I'm just going to start making my own food. And so, yeah, you don't necessarily need tofu. I think tofu was, because it was brought up by Zuri and what have you, and that's usually a go-to staple for people because it's an Asian thing. It's come from China back in the Han Dynasty. It's old. And when I went to Japan, they have like a place called House of Tofu. And they eat it raw. You just put some soy sauce on it. So I was in heaven. I'm like, oh, shoot, y'all got tofu all over the place. But you don't necessarily have to just eat tofu. So if you don't have it available, you have so much fruits. You have fruits and vegetables there. Potatoes, sweet potatoes. I'm sure you can get beans, wholesale beans by the bulk. That's even better because usually it's a lot less expensive. And you can soak them, kind of to your question, when you can soak them in a certain way, and I think you clear off the gas and do it again, the bubbles, that way you have less flatulence so you don't get that bloating from them. But I would say start there because I don't know were you concerned about protein? Well, you ever heard of Freely? I was like, yes. I know she did a lot of that banana thing as well, and I think it was a trend for a while. People were eating tons of bananas. I mean, I'm not going to say if it's bad or good. You know, it just depends on how your body responds. So I would say really just have to work on that creativity of learning how to cook different things. There's so many different recipes out there now for whatever you have that you can utilize to benefit you where you don't need to have tofu or any other source like that. If you just have beans, potatoes, greens, lots of fruits and vegetables. Believe it or not, fruits do contain protein. They do. So you can get it in. I hope that answered your question.
All right, friends. The time has come for our final question.
What?
I know. Tori, I'm going to ask you to answer this final question and then just say some parting words. And then everybody, Tori will be in the lobby of this building and then wherever his heart sends him next.
It's going on until 5, right?
Yep. The fest is until 6.
Oh, 6.
So we have some time, and we have a presentation after this one at 4:30. We're going to have Gray the Vegan Rapper, a plant-based dripping, performing on this stage. It's going to be fantastic. So that'll start at 4:30. We got about another 40 minutes before that starts. But we'll have time to talk with Tori afterwards. So let's get this final question and then wrap up.
Hey, Tori. I'm
How are you?
Tiana.
Hi, Tiana.
My question is about weight gain on a vegan diet. My entire life, I've been tiny. And now I'm a pro bikini competitor, but my feedback has always been you need to put on more size. However, it seems like the volume that I have to eat to maintain that size or put it on is a second-time job for me. So I guess what are your thoughts on protein powders or getting more in to put that size on without feeling like that's all I'm doing all day is eating?
Right. So I was waiting for that question. That's pretty good. Because I know Scott and Aaron may remember this, but there used to be a point in time where I was so adamant against those because I was like that guy that I just want to eat. I don't want to drink my food. I like to eat food. So you wouldn't find me, I mean, not that I had it. I wouldn't have been that guy that grilled chicken and blended in a, I like to eat food that, you know, That's how I want to do it. So when it comes to an athlete who wants to compete, put on size, and sometimes it's a little bit harder for them to eat so much food all the time. You know, you're on the go, so you're doing different things. You may be that mom that has 5 kids that are like, oh, I can't sit down and eat. Let me just make a shake real quick and do that together. But I think what we tend to do is we put so much focus on them that that's the go-to. I think it's called supplement because it's supposed to supplement. So I'm going to say this because at the current point right now, I'm actually giving it a shot. What I mean is just seeing what it does based on Because there's so many people that say, man, I got to take protein shakes, I want to do this, I got to do that. Not to say you actually have to, but it's a viable means to get in that extra that you're looking for to put on that size. Of course, if you date back to bodybuilding back before, in the years way back, they didn't have that stuff. They were still putting on size and looking the way they want to look and building muscle. Yeah, of course you didn't have many vegan bodybuilders back then, but even still, to this day, if you continue to, like I know a guy that eats every hour, and he has a very high metabolism, and you may be able to say your metabolism may be one that's very high where you have to probably force down food, only because of what your end goal is. Not to say that you all have to do that. She had the goal of being on stage, but her feedback was, all right, you look great, but we need you to have more muscle. So she needs to, one, increase her compound lifting, doing a lot more mass building activity, and eating more. And eating more only to help that muscle grow. And not to say that she won't grow not doing that, but it's going to be faster that way because she has a goal. She doesn't want to compete 5 years from now. She wants to compete next year or 3 months or what have you. So in that process, it's just for that time being, she has to keep doing that. So to say that you have to do it, no. You probably might not ever need to take protein supplements because you're fine getting fit and eating the food the way you're eating and not having to do that. It's just supplement only because it's adding in something that you're not able to get because of the time frame in which you have, increasing more. You see what I'm saying? So in a nutshell, I think it's fine. It's okay if that's what helps you get to that next level. Be careful, really pay attention to them because a lot of times they're not performance-based, they're more taste-based. And so in that sense, a lot of fillers and things like that you might not need in your body just to make it taste good or go down good. Sometimes you don't need that. It's fine if it tastes like dirt. Just add some strawberries to it, some bananas.
We'll cover anything.
Yeah, because
All right.
you just need the performance aspect of it.
Any parting words for us?
Parting words, man, this is a new thing. Let me put this. I found a screw on the.
Thank you.
Parting words. First of all, did you guys enjoy? I like feedback, criticism, whatever it is, because. Thank you. That's all I need right there. Parting words. One thing that I've been really focusing on now is I didn't realize it was part of the 4 agreements. Anybody's read that book? One thing that someone told me this is in there, taking things personal. And I feel that when we don't take things personal, we can become a better person. It's funny how that goes together. Taking things personal, and I give this quick example because I think it relates to anybody who's over 16 that drives a car. If you're driving your way down the street and you're, minding your own business, and someone cuts you off, the first reaction is to be angry at this person driving that car. Because first of all, you feel like, man, they just cut me off. I'm minding my own business. I'm pissed. So some of us, not all, want to go and flick them off or whatever. I'm like, you bastard, you just cut me off. But if you don't take it personal and understand that person didn't know who was in that car. It didn't say, I'm going to go cut off Torre, Washington because I want to get to that spot. Their goal is, I don't care what's going on. I need to get to where I'm going. I'm going over here. Their end goal is getting home or getting to work. They're not thinking about you, Rashid, or whatever. So to take it personal only hurts yourself because then you have this anger on you for the rest of the day. And you're like, my day is ruined because that person cut me off. So if we can live our lives by not taking things personal, I think we'll be better stewards of the message that we want to give to everybody, that we are compassionate. We want to spread more awareness about this community and the great people that are part of this community. There's a lot of us that are doing great work out there with farm sanctuaries, putting on the Atlanta Veg Fest. Like, this is amazing. Great job. I love it here. I think you guys have really made this event one of the premier events because it's gotten so much bigger than it has from when I first came. So, in parting, I just want to thank you all for being here and just really making this event successful, because it's only as successful as you guys see it. And then you guys being here creates this movement, this wave. Don't take things personal. Be as compassionate as you can be to the next person, the person sitting next to you, the person that comes into your circle. Allow them to see you as being that genuine human being that we all can be and should be to everyone that we meet. Yes, that dog is cute, that cat is cute, but in the end, they see you always as, you ever heard the saying, be the person that your dog sees you as? I think that's real. Like, if we can truly be that person that dog sees us as, this world could be a better place, and it wouldn't be so divided based on, I'm vegan, you're not. It'll just be, like I said in the beginning, vegan will become eventually just is. So thank you guys again. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Torre.